For the first time in 15 years, the Proteas have won a test match in India. 15 years it has taken, but the Proteas get the job done. The first test match in Kolkata. Not happy hunting grounds for the Proteas. They, of course, played their first ever test match back after readmission there in Kolkata. But their last game there was the World Cup semi-final against Australia, which, South Africa in a World Cup semi-final, we, of course, lost. But moving on from that, this was a fantastic 2.5 days of Test cricket. It ended midway through the third day. From the first over, there was variable bounce. Jasprit Bumrah having one spiking and keeping low, going for 4 byes. The Proteas put on their first 50-run opening partnership in India in 15 years. How ironic. And then just got rattled out. I went to go run a test. I left home. We hadn't lost a wicket. I got home. We'd been bowled out. I got home just in time to watch us bowl to India. Jaiswal falling at the end of the day to leave India about 30-odd for 1. Day 2 was all about the batting of India, who got a 30-run lead, an important 30-run lead, and then proceeded to have the Proteas about 92 for 7 come the end of play. But day 3 is where it all changed. India probably dominated the first 2 days. In the Proteas' first innings, Jasprit Bumrah, unplayable, picks up 5. We were going well, removes both openers, comes back to clean up the long Proteas tail. Of course, they had Markram and Rickleton at the top. Number 3 was Vian Mulder back in the side. 4 was Temba Bavuma, who played very well in the second innings. 4 was Tony de Zorzi, Tristan Stubbs, Kyle Verreyn. And then you had Marco Jansen, Bavuma-Bosch, Simon Harman, Keshav Maharaj. Keshav Maharaj, who's got Test 50s, batting at number 11. Whereas India, I would argue, went in with 3 number 11s. Because they obviously had KL Rahul and Jaiswal at the top of the order. Washington Sundar has been named in 3, even though Sai Sudarshan and Devat Padikkal were in the side. Or in the squad, not in the side. They were sub-fielders because, unfortunately, Shubman Gill went off injured. He would have batted at 4. He contributed 4 runs in the first innings, but then went to hospital with a neck spasm. He has since been leaving, thoughts and prayers to him, but he didn't bat in the second innings. So the Proteas taking 18 wickets as opposed to the 20 that they needed. Simon Harmer picking up 8 in the match. Rishabh Pant, Jurel, Jadeja, Kuldeep, Siraj, Bumrah. I think that's everybody. It wasn't a long Indian batting lineup, and I think that's what cost them in the end. They will probably have to look at the construction of their side. They went in with 4 spinners. Oh, Axar Patel was who I forgot. And he was knocking about on the third day. They played really well. Sundar and Rahul got them off to a good start in the first innings. Also put on 57. That was like the top partnership of the match. 57 runs, 1 for both sides. And then they kind of fell away. Rishabh Pant contributing with 34 runs, which were vital in the end as they got that 30-run lead. And then Ravi Jadeja just blew the Proteas away for the first half of the innings. What changed the game was on the third morning, 44 runs between Temba Bavuma, who scored the game's only 50, it was like 55 not out red, and Bavuma-Bosch, who put on 25. They put on 44 runs to completely change the game and to give India 124 to win. Marco Jansen started beautifully with the new ball, reduced India to 10 for 2 at lunch on the third day, and then Simon Harmer got stuck in, taking 4 wickets. Keshav Maharaj cleans up the tail with another 2. Jansen picking up 2. And there was 1 for Aiden Markram, who I believe picked up, I think it was Axar Patel or Ravi Jadeja, one of the 2. No, he got Washington Sundar, I think. No. He got one of the left-handers, but India went in with a lot of left-handers, which is probably why Simon Harmer, 10 years on from his last tour to India, where he had a torrid tie, made his debut, but then got dropped thereafter, comes back, gets 8 wickets, and seals a historic victory for the Proteas. He's going to get a lot of the headlines. The bowlers are going to get a lot of the headlines for defending that total. South Africa win by 30 runs, which is what they trailed by after the first innings were concluded. But Temba Bavuma made this win possible. Firstly, he was obviously captain. Won the toss, batted first, which was very, very important. It was not an easy pitch to bat on. But Bavuma showed if you applied yourself and you had proper technique, he was the only one to make runs. He made 55. There were a couple of 30s from a couple of players. Markham got a 30, Pant got a 30, Raul got a 30. Bavuma was there over 100 balls, 120, 130 balls I think he faced, or close to 120 I think so. 55 I believe it was, not outright. He batted beautifully and he set that innings up. The Proteas were in huge trouble because Ravi Jadeja just blew them away. It shows you the experience. But Washington Sundar didn't bowl. Now, the Proteas obviously didn't have a lot of left-handers. So, obviously, they thought, well, we've got Axar Patel, we've got Ravi Jadeja, who are left-handers, obviously turning the ball away from the right-handers, and then have that arm ball that slides in and would then give them LBW. The Proteas left-handers, I think we had two. We had Ryan Rickleton, and we had Tony DeZorzi. Markram's right-handed, Stubbs is right-handed, Mulder's right-handed, Bavuma's obviously right-handed, Varaine's right-handed, the whole lower order is right-handed. Kagiso Rabada not playing for the Proteas. He sustained a rib injury and was missing from this test match, so he could come back in. It seems as though Devil Brevis is now also once again fit and available. He was on as a sub-fielder during the match. So the Proteas got momentum and a lot of new availability going into the second test match. Questions about India. They're having a really, really rough time at the moment. They obviously lost their last home series 3-0 to New Zealand. They've gone down in this one. Shubman Gill was not available for the second innings, obviously sustained that injury. Rishabh Pant captain in his place. If Gill is not fit, one would assume Pant will captain, although it could be Jasprit Bumrah. The question is, what do they do with the makeup of their side? Because effectively, they're probably two batters short. Because you've got Sundar at 3, and he did bat well. I'm going to give him his credit. He did bat well, but he didn't bowl. Now, obviously, I mentioned the Proteas don't have a lot of left-handers, but he didn't bowl. Could he have been moved down the order, or not played at all, and you played a better batsman? Or not played with your 3 number 11s, Kuldeep, Bumrah, and Siraj? Now, Siraj did clean up the South African tail on the third morning, removing Harmer and Maharaj after having a bit of a rough start on day one, kind of spraying it everywhere and let the Proteas get off to that good start. You would imagine Siraj and Bumrah play, but you could see a world where they just go with one of them and then play the 4 spinners or 3 spinners. Because if I were India, I would be looking at that. You didn't have enough batting depth, and I think that's what kind of cost them, because they're 30 runs. Some odd bowling choices by Pant. That's why Bumrah may captain if he plays and captains. You've got to look at in their squad. Now, you've obviously got Sai Sudharsan and Deva Padikkal ready to come in. The question will be, do you want to bring in 2 left-handers when Simon Harmer's just taken 8? Will be the question that they will be asking themselves. So they've got questions to answer. Namely, will Shubman Gill be fit? I saw a photo of him leaving the hospital, so hopefully he's all well. But he was in a neck brace. He obviously has a neck spasm. It really caused him a lot of pain and discomfort when he was batting. Really helped the Proteas out in the end. Didn't have to get him out. Obviously, India's captain. Probably India's best batsman at the moment. Maybe sans 2 openers. And Rishabh Pant always doing Rishabh Pant things. It was a difficult pitch to bat on. Will they produce the same kind of pitch for the second test match? Proteas played beautifully well, but this game could have gone either way, and for most of it looked to be going India's way, so they will feel a bit unlucky maybe to win it, but 120 on this pitch was always going to be competitive. No one got past 200. India got close, scored 189, but part of that was the Proteas just not bowling probably as well as they did with the new ball in the first innings as they did in the second innings. And part of that was Harmer opened the bowling in the second innings. In the first innings, it was Jansen and it was Mulder. Now, obviously, Kagiso Rabada is coming in and we will make use of that new ball better than perhaps Vian Mulder will. So the Proteas look alright. There could be some questions about maybe bringing Brevis in when it's such a difficult wicket that if you don't have the technique of Bavuma, you maybe want to play like a Rishabh Pant and try and score quickly and find boundary options. So Brevis could make an impact in place of a Stubbs or a Mulder. If you're going to bring in Rabada, then you don't need that extra seaming option. Corbin Bosch obviously contributing with the bat and picking up a wicket in the first innings with the ball, removing Rishabh Pant, who was looking dangerous at the time. So the Proteas have got good questions to answer, probably, because they've got very good players now available, ready to come in. India probably have the opposite problem. Their best player is not available, and maybe the players that they want that are on the periphery of the squad, they're maybe not sure about. I don't know who else is in their squad in terms of options, but I know Saidar Sudarsan and Devat Padikal are there. You've got to look, maybe there's Rujirat Gaikwad, who's having a good run of form. Could he come in just because he's right-handed and you don't want to play as many left-handers? Like India had like 6 left-handers. It was like the first time in their history, or one of the times in history, where they've had so many left-handers in the side. Where Maharaj obviously was bowling to left-handers, so maybe didn't struggle. He wasn't bowling as well as he could have, but he didn't look as threatening as Harmer did in this match. He obviously does pick up 2 wickets and then 1 in the first, so finishes with 3 wickets. Maybe you need to put in a few more right-handers. But then you've got to look, do you need Jadeja and Patel? Do you need Kuldeep? Do you need Washington Sundar? And so on and so forth. So they'll be looking, I think they're really struggling with the makeup of their side at the moment, India. Obviously, Sundar batting at 3 is not ideal. But they really struggled. Like their most recent series in England, number 3 spot was their big question mark. Karun Nair is there and about. He played in that series in England. He's right-handed. He could come in if he's not injured. I don't actually know his availability. But it is very interesting. That's all I really have to say. Proteas get the job done. 15 years in the waiting for this victory.